Welcome back. My name is Chazz. This show is called Adults Only. It can be seen every Wednesday at 6 o'clock p.m. Tell a friend, tell a relative. This is a must-see broadcast. It's free of charge. We're not asking you for a penny to donate to a Patreon. We're just asking you to stay with us for 1 hour as we cover important topics. Once again, my name is Chazz. We have my big brother getting himself ready right now. He'll be coming out pretty soon. And tonight's topic is going to be about nurturing our mind and our body. We touched on it last week. We're going to touch back up on it again. We appreciate all the viewers that do log on. And with that being said, let me go ahead and introduce our big brother, Jah. Come on out, bruh.
What's going on, Chazz? How you feeling, man?
All right, yourself?
Oh, I'm hanging in there. I'm ready for this second part because this thing has really been hot. It's been heavy on my mind all week. So we have to finish something that we started last week. So
just real quick aside note, we normally don't do this. I didn't think you were gonna show up. Everybody that knows you, you got your feelings hurt with them Baltimore Ravens last week. So I didn't know if you were gonna come on today, so I was kind of panicking. But I'm glad you showed up after y'all got smoked.
Whatever, man. But I'm here. I'm ready to go. I see we got some people that's with us too today. I see.
Sister Barbara says, "Hotel, thank you for logging on." Sister Sharon says, "Hey guys, we appreciate her."
Yeah, so this is a good topic, man. But I know last week we talked about it. So let's start by reviewing on some of the things we said, and then we'll dive into tonight because we have a lot of information to discuss. Yes. But one of the first things we said last week is we have to basically take care of ourselves. That's the key to basically nurturing your mind and your body. If you don't take care of yourself, Chazz, you might as well forget it. And we're talking about taking care of the total person, not just taking care of the body, not just taking care of the mind. We're talking about both of those and really, really being serious about that. Would you say so as well?
Yes. And let me ask you this. There are some people who are strapped for cash. You don't have that much money. And if your issue isn't something like where your life or death, Google or YouTube some of your health issues. You can find some good home remedies because always running to the doctor. Sometimes, and I'm not saying that all the time, but sometimes it's worse going to the doctor because they're going to give you something way worse than what sometimes you can do it at home yourself, if you get what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, because it's important that we look at the seriousness of this subject, because many of us, we take our bodies and our minds for granted. But if we don't take care of them, man, we're going to end up like many people, and that's going to be in a sad state. And I know we did say this last week too. Don't let excuses exempt you from taking care of yourself. Chaz, is it true that most of us always making excuses as opposed to doing what we have to do?
Yes, we make excuses, brother, because we sit back, we do everything we want to do. If that's watching television, going out and partying, going out to the shopping malls, buying stuff we don't necessarily need. So yes, this is an excuse, and we always push back what should be done. And what we don't want to do, it's just lackadaisical. And sometimes, like you mentioned a few minutes ago, it's to our detriment. And we're wondering why we're in this condition. Big brother, if you look at, and I'm not putting us down, you look at most of us African Americans, brother, we don't care about our health. We just don't care.
Yeah, and that's so sad for you to say that, but you're speaking the truth, and I'm glad that you are a flamethrower. But a lot of people don't care, and it's like we make all kind of excuses. And here's one of the biggest excuses that most of us make, and I know you want to deal with this one.
Procrastination. Don't put your overall well-being off for any reason. Exactly. Because as we mentioned last week, procrastination normally leads into I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do it next week, and then sometime next week just turns into not doing it at all. And once again, if you keep procrastinating, just real quick, I'll touch up. We have Buddha that says something, says hi, and Sister Sharon that said something. But yes, procrastination is something that a lot of us deal with. We just find ways to push things back that we don't want to do. And once again, the things that should be done, we just so lackadaisical. And it takes something, I hate saying this, brother, it takes a terrible health scare for us to get serious and to do something about it.
Yeah.
This is another one on the screen. We must all desperately take care of our mind and body. I'll pass this one to you real quick.
Yeah, the desperation is that we don't have time to sit around, Chaz, and act like everything is good. We don't have time to sit around and act like our health is at A1 or 100%, because most of us are dying of diabetes. We're dying because of strokes. We're dying because of high blood pressure. We're dying because of stress. We're dying because we don't know how to deal with our families. We're dying because we're lonely. We're dying from taking all this medicine. We're dying from not drinking water. We're putting too much salt in our bodies. We're not meditating. And this is why it's a desperation, Chaz. This is a desperate plea. And I do want to say to Sister Tawana and her friend, our brother, they sent us a donation, and to all those who have donated to Adults Only, we definitely appreciate that. Sister Zuri, Charisma, Mashonda, all of these queens have helped us, and we really truly appreciate them. Sister Yoni, Sister Supreme. These are people that keep this broadcast going, and they're putting their money where their mouth. And I want to go to another point, Chaz, but I want to say this real quickly. I want to say this: we have to be patient with ourselves when it comes to health. Because many of us put this health on and this weight on over many, many years. And we think that we're going to get rid of it in 2 or 3 months because we saw somebody on social media do it, because they've been taking drugs or getting things cut off of them. And that's not how it works, Chaz. And I want to put this up now, because I know you told me we've got to do this because we skipped it last week. So let's talk about there's a elephant, Chaz.
Can I just add something real quick about the mind now and be quick? About the mind, that's something that is we don't think about this, brother. We need to make sure we're getting a proper amount of sleep, because I'm noticing if you're not getting at least 7 to 8 hours of sleep, brother, you're going to be cranky, you're going to be angry, grouchy, and it's going to affect your mood. So for those people who you should start taking notes of how long you're sleeping, because I'm telling you, if you don't get enough sleep at night, it's going to show up and it's going to affect your mind. Now, you put on the screen, there is an elephant in the room when it comes to taking care of our minds and bodies. Yes, it is an elephant in the room. And the biggest elephant in the room is none other than what we just talked about, procrastination. Procrastination, to me, is the biggest elephant, because like you mentioned, we sit back, we see all these social media influencers and think that we can be them, but they're taking things that they shouldn't be taking. They're drinking things that they shouldn't be taking. And this stuff is not good for our health in the long run. Sister Sharon put, and that affects the whole day. Yes, the sleep affects the day. Peace and blessings, fam. Appreciate it, Auntie Nuja, as well. But yes, Big Brother, do you have anything to add about sleep?
Yeah, I got to add to sleep is that most of us try to burn the candle at both ends. And this is why we're in our 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s, and we look like we're 100 because we're not getting enough rest. We're not drinking enough water. And here's an elephant that we're going to add to the other elephant that's in the room because we don't talk about this. And I've said this, and people have really berated me. People have drugged my name through the mud because I've often said this, Chazz. And I want to tell you right now what I'm talking about is mental health. There's a lot of us that's sick. We are sick and we don't realize it. So let's look at something that's going to talk about how many of us are screwed up when it comes to the mental aspect of it.
Here tonight, mental illness can impact anybody, but culture, race, and gender can affect access to treatment, support, and quality of care. July is Minority Mental Health Awareness Month. In tonight's Moments That Matter, Shirlene Shanklin and our photojournalist Alyssa Newton sit down with a psychotherapist working to get rid of the stigma of seeking help.
I think that anytime that anybody has a big change in their moods, it's an indicator that something's wrong.
Psychotherapist Gail Bibb explains some of the warning signs when you may need a mental health checkup.
When people are excessively worrying, extreme mood changes, highs or lows, having thoughts about suicide, or really difficulty connecting in social settings could be indicators that there is something wrong with your mental health.
There's several ways to treat patients. Bibb explains her method.
So I use a holistic approach. It's just a modality that encompasses the mental, emotional, psychological, social impacts of a person and their well-being.
Major life changes or maybe something in your past unresolved resurfaces.
And triggers are just unhealed wounds from your past. And so anything in the environment can trigger it, a smell, somebody's personality, something that someone can say to you can trigger up an emotional response.
Bibb explains why so many African Americans are so apprehensive about seeking help.
I think historically there's been a mistrust with getting services, getting adequate care that you need. Generally, I think a lot of African Americans have used the church as their provider for growing up for me, whatever happened in the house stayed in the house.
Bibb has obtained 3 master's degrees, but not because of the science, but her own personal connection.
I grew up and I didn't really have a relationship with my biological parents. And one of the reasons is because my biological mother was diagnosed with bipolar and schizophrenic. And so I think that my interest was sparked because of my own traumas that I've grew up with.
Bibb explains why so many Blacks choose their faith to help them instead of medical assistance.
It has been the outlet that we have had with no stigma. And so it's always been something that we could go kind of cry with no shame, shout, right? And really have emotional expression that wasn't demonized.
She tells her clients of faith that it's okay to seek medical help.
Prayer is a weapon, but therapy is a strategy, and we need both. To be the very best versions of ourselves, I think that when you really lean in on your faith, it really gives you a level of resiliency. But it doesn't allow you to process the things that you've actually experienced. And therapy gives you that opportunity to co-regulate with someone else that can be safe. And we can heal in safe and trusted relationships.
For Moments That Matter, I'm Shirlene Shanklin for WHAS 11 News on your side.
Wow, Chazz.
Big brother.
Go ahead, Chazz. Say something.
I want you to say real quick on that particular clip. There is nothing, because this needs to be said. There's nothing wrong with seeking out a mental health counselor. There's some of us who can battle our mental health privately to ourselves, and we could battle it. But big brother, there's nothing wrong with saying, I need help. I need someone to talk to. I need someone to check on my well-being. And for some of us, because this is how sick society is, when we find out Brother James had to go see a mental health counselor, we laugh at him, we call him weak, we call him bees. It's not about that. This man is trying to get his life back on track, because here's what's going to happen. When James is 6 feet deep under that ground, people behind closed doors are going to laugh at him. They're going to mock him, make fun of him. So for those who are struggling with mental health, I'm here to tell you, there is nothing wrong with seeking a counselor. There is nothing wrong with that.
And that's one of the stigmas that we have. And I've often said this, many of us are sick, and we look at it jokingly, but this is serious. Many of our people in our family are sick. Your brother may be sick. My sister may be sick. You and I may be sick. Your mother may be sick. My father may be sick. See, we have some mental issues that we don't like to talk about. But what the sister said in the clip that I love is we run to church. We run to spirituality. We run to all these places instead of getting help. And so we try to go to these places and release what's really going on inside of us. And these places are not helping us. There's nothing wrong with having a faith in a God, faith in a supreme being. But that doesn't work when you know psychologically you have some problems, Chazz, and I have some problems that have stuck with us since we were little boys. And this is why we grow up and we become so messed up, because a lot of us don't want to talk about, we try to sugarcoat that. We try to medicate that by running to these buildings. And this is why we need to talk about the elephant in the room is mental health, because a lot of us, as I've often said, and people laughed at me, we got some sick, you know what, people in our families, Chazz, but they don't want to get help.
Big brother, I want to add to this real quick. In the Christian faith, a lot of people believe that if a person is battling something mental, like they're hearing voices or just something mental, they call it demonic possession, or some people they say are attacked by demons. What would you say that people who believe that? Because here's the thing. I don't believe a person has to be have black eyes, growling, slobber coming out. Yeah, that's demonic possession. But do you believe that there could be people who are battling some kind of demonic entity that it could be triggering some mental health issues?
Yeah, I believe in the spirit world, and I believe that many of us have so many negative thoughts, whether you want to call them demonic or whether you want to call them negativity or just screwed up mindsets, and we don't know how to deal with it. So we don't watch shows like Adults Only. We rather watch comedy, sports, entertainment, and we want to medicate, as I keep saying, something that's deep-seated. So instead of getting the help that we need, and we say we're doing good, we may be 250 pounds, 6'4", muscle bound. We may not be eating properly. Well, whatever we're doing, Chazz, the bottom line is there's some deep-seated things that's affecting us. And most of your viewers and most of my viewers know that someone is sick in our families. This is why we're always on the phone talking. This is why we're always on social media. This is why we're always trying to be lonely. This is why we don't want to be bothered with people, because we have some sick people, and the elephant in the room is mental health. And so you can't see that. Can I show you another clip before we get to some comments? Can I show you another clip, Chazz, that's going to really teach us? Because a lot of us like to talk about the things we see, but we don't like to talk about the things we don't see. So hang in there while I share this with you, because these are videos that, Chazz, we've got to look at.
Yes. I believe you shared this one with me before the show as well. But yeah, this is terrible.
Okay, here we go.
Well, the one major issue that is not acceptable to talk about in terms of healthcare are those issues that relate to the mind, mental health. That those are taboo just to talk about. And so until a person gets where they have no choice, then most of the time we don't even discuss it. The other issue for children and teenagers that is a growing issue is suicides. I've had more suicide funerals in the last 2 years than I've had in the 40 years before. So suicide is a major issue.
Big brother, I just want to add to what that brother said, which is terrible. We talk about a lot of adults, the people that's 40, 50, 60s, and the children and teenagers. We need to address them more. But like this brother just mentioned, the children, over his 40-year career, he's seen more death by children in the last 2 years. Brother, if that doesn't say a lot, that is heartbreaking. And here's the thing. who do the children have to turn to when they're facing these kind of battles?
They have no one to turn to because we're not good counselors as adults, as parents, as uncles, as aunts, as nieces, as nephews, as cousins, you see, because our children are showing us that this is a health issue, you see. This is a mental health issue. So African-American teens are committing suicide at an alarming rate because they're not taking care of their minds. And see, the Negroes in America, many of them, they don't want to be serious about how sick many of us are. We think that it's taboo to get help and to talk about it. We rather talk about love. We rather talk about life. We rather talk about dope. We rather talk about yak. We rather talk about money. We rather talk about materialism. We don't want to talk about the reason that we're not taking care of ourselves, Chazz, is because a lot of us are so messed up mentally, and those mental mindsets are allowing us to do things that are harming our babies. And this is why we should have broadcasts like this where we're talking about serious matters, adults only, because adults need to stop acting like you know what and begin to sit down and say, hey, I need help because I'm struggling right now mentally, and let's talk about what people are saying now.
Sister Janie says, Hotep family from Mioni. Hey, Auntie. Sister Sharon says, yes. And Sister Sharon says, society makes fun of the situation, not knowing what's going on. As Black people think mental health, and then we crazy. She's absolutely right. And like I said, Sister Sharon is right, because I said this earlier, brother. We do make fun of people who have mental health issues. And a lot of us don't understand what that person's going through behind closed doors. And even for our young ones, brother, like this gentleman just said on that YouTube show, the kids, they have it hard because me and you have filters. Kids don't have filters. They say some of anything that hits their brain, and our kids, they're battling this day in and day out, and the teachers probably don't really care because they're getting a paycheck. So I think that's something we all must do, is trying to help our younger loved ones who are 13, 14, 15, 16 years old.
And like the sister said in the video, that's why many of us have so many mood swings. We're happy one day, we're sad the next hour. We're bipolar, we don't want to get help. And so that's why a lot of people don't want to watch things like this that's going to help encourage them to seek help, because a lot of us are sick and we're not taking care of ourselves, Chazz. And so this is what we have to look at. Taking care of ourselves, it involves this here, Chazz, and read this and talk about it.
Getting rid of the dumb stuff. Now, I wrote a few notes down. That's why you see me looking down. When you say the dumb stuff, brother, I would say the main thing the dumb stuff is social media. We're sitting back 7, 8, 9, 10 hours a day scrolling, just scrolling. Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, all these sites, brother. If you calculate how many hours per day we're on these sites, all the information we're taking in, all the videos we're watching, that is going to play a big part on your mental health, because you got so much stuff that's going on. It's going to damage your mood. It's going to always have you cranky. Let me go ahead and throw in there too, brother, the news. There's nothing wrong with watching the news here or there, but when you stomach this stuff all day long, brother, you cannot sit up there and tell me that that does not play a big part on your mental health.
That's true. That's true. And I'm going to throw in something too that's really we have to get rid of. And that's all of us, you, myself, and everyone. In order to take care of ourselves mentally, physically, emotionally, psychologically, we've got to get the strife out of our lives, Chazz. Because when I say strife, there's too much conflict in our lives. As African Americans, I'm beefing with you. I'm beefing with my sister. I'm beefing with my brother. I'm beefing with my uncles. I'm beefing with my aunts. I'm beefing on social media. I'm beefing all over the world. I don't like anybody. No one likes me. The world is against me. That will weigh heavy on one's heart, man.
Yes.
This is why we have strokes and heart attacks. And the people that's listening, they can hide behind the cell phones all they want. But they know that you and I are telling the truth because we're talking about ourselves. There's too much strife in our lives. There's too much conflict, Chazz. There's too much contention. There's too many quarrels. There's too many beefs. There's too many clashes with ourselves and with others. And this is the only way we can take care of ourselves. We've got to get the dumb stuff, as the screen says. Get rid of the dumb stuff. And some of that, Chazz, means sometimes you got to get rid of, I hate to say it, but I got to.
Come on.
We've got to get rid of people that's in our lives that's causing us all this conflict. I
want to take it a step further, brother. And some people may look at this as weak, soft, or mushmallow, but I want to say this. You need, me as included, we need to learn how to forgive. Forgive people. I don't
And
care
yourself,
what
forgive
they've
yourself
done.
too. Yeah.
I don't care what they've done. And some people may say, I'm not going to forgive him or her. I'm not no weak person. That has nothing to do with being weak, because the more you hold on to those grudges, the more you hold all that anger and rage in, you're tearing your own self up when you think that way. And let me ask you this too, brother. Why did society come up with that, saying that forgiving people is looked at as soft or weak?
This has to do with a pervasive ignorance. This is an ignorance of us as a people in many instances where we don't use our being the way it should be used. We don't use our cognitive skills, our thinking skills. We're so silly because the media has done so much damage to us, and so has our families, that we can't sit down and say we may never forget what happened to us.
Right.
But yet we will not allow that to take us to our grave as bitter people, because there's things that we can't do anything about that happened 20, 30, 40, 50 years about. But we hold on to it because we're sick. So we medicate. There's my word again for tonight. So we try to medicate ourselves with alcohol, with dope, with sex, with everything you could imagine. But yet basically inside of us, Chaz, we're still allowing the dumb stuff in our lives, and we must work on our minds and bodies. Just like a construction worker may go to work every day and they work hard. A lot of us aren't working hard, Chaz, on our minds and on our bodies. That's why we're big as houses, many of us. And that's why a lot of us, we never read. Here's something we can do, and I'll give it back over to you, but here's something we can do when we say working on our minds and bodies. First of all, we can listen to positive music. Yes. Everything ain't got to be you B, you H. I'm gonna blow your brains out and give me this. Everything ain't about laying in the bed. You know, see, this is what I'm trying to say. This is what is positive. Listen to positive music, not that. Watch wholesome media, Chaz. Everything ain't about watching vulgarity, nudity. You know, this is what we do, but yet we try to act as if we're working on our minds and body. We must learn how to take care of ourselves emotionally. There is no need for me to be so fragile that when you critique me, I want to go and crack up or act like I'm some soft marshmallow, I should say. Read a good book about the importance of self-care. And I'll turn it over to you when I say this. For us older adults, you may not believe I'm going to say this, Chaz, but I got to say it. Here it is.
Okay.
Smoke a little dope. I mean, let me tell you what I mean by that. For medicinal purposes. See, some older people, they smoke dope, but they're not smoking dope like they're hanging on the corner and trying to get high or get drunk. They need this to relax them, Chaz. And a lot of people don't want to look at the medicinal aspect of that because we've taken it to another height. But some of us, we need to really consider getting something in our system that we can relax, because we're too up in the air all the time, and that doesn't work, man.
Well, here's my question, and for the people who do subscribe to that, because I got to push back a little bit. You mean to tell me we're almost 50 years old and we need a substance to cope with life? That's terrible.
It is terrible, Chaz, but it goes back to what Sister Sharon is saying. It's relaxation, you see. And I'm not saying this to say that we should be doing this just to be doing it. I'm saying that some people, not everybody, some people need that. It's not damaging. You know, people smoke cigarettes and they vape and do all and drink. We say nothing to them. But when I say something like older people, some of us, they need to smoke dope. And I don't mean smoking a dime bag or a 50-cent bag. I mean, just something to relax them. And this is why people drink wine in Jamaica and a lot of other countries and cultures. They drink wine in the evening because that relaxes them. Because most of us, we don't know how to relax, Chaz. And this is all I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to push anything. I'm saying that if we're finding ourselves always up in the air, we may ask our doctor, what can we do to relax? Because a lot of us are not relaxing. I'd rather have you do that than to popping all these pills, because we're not working on our minds and our bodies. I know you want something I know you want this here.
I want to go back real quick because I didn't get a chance to finish. Just 2 quick points on that. I would say practicing gratitude is a big thing. Being thankful for what you have. Stop trying to change what you don't have. And I'm going to just say this real quick. It's called grounding. Now, there are some people who are familiar with this, who are the people that are not. It's just basically going out on cement or in the sand, taking your socks and shoes off for about 5 to 10 minutes, and it's supposedly to get in tune with the sun, and it heals your body from inflammation. Number 3, it says manage all that stress that we have allowed in our hearts. Yes,
It's a lot, Chazz. You just don't know. And I know I might be overreacting tonight. You just don't know how much stress that most of us have on a daily basis. We look fine, but inside what we have is a time bomb, and it's ticking, and it's ticking, and it's ticking. And when we get up in age, sometimes that time bomb explodes. And this is why we have what is called nervous breakdowns. This is why husbands and wives, boyfriends and girlfriends, family members arguing ever since they were little children till the time they're in their 60s. And all of that has caught up with us. And this is what I'm saying. This stress, we've allowed this, man. And so we're saying we shouldn't be this way because we want to see you around until it's really the time to go, but not because we have to leave this earth because I'm so pissed off at you for the last 15, 20 years that I'm going to die angry, holding a grudge, and bitter because I don't know how to channel all of that, Chazz. So this is why we have to have these kinds of discussions.
Yes, and once again, like we talked about earlier, knowing in your heart, we cannot change what has happened in the past. Just accept it and move on. And I just want to say this real quick too. I think this is the big key proponent to overcoming this. It's just try, if you can, disconnect from the TV and the cell phones as much as possible. Now, don't get me wrong. If you see a friend or daughter or son calling, of course, pick up the phone. But I'm talking about just the mindless scrolling all over the internet is what I'm getting at. Sister Sharon says we wear masks.
And I'm so glad she said that because there's a poem by a man by the name of Paul Lawrence Dunbar. He wrote a poem called We Wear the Mask, and it talks about how we laugh and grin and have fun on the outside, but on the inside, we're hurting. And so basically what he's talking about is be who you are. See, many of us have deluded ourselves, Chazz. We think we're more than we are. And so we see ourselves as this person that has all these things, and we really don't, because inside of us, we're struggling, see? Yeah. And this is why a lot of us aren't happy in life. We can't have relationships. We can't love ourselves because we're wearing a mask and we're grinning and lying, but it's hiding our cheeks and it shades our eyes. And we don't realize that until we take these masks off. And a lot of us, we will not take the mask off. But to those who are watching this broadcast, we're wanting to encourage you because it's too much going on in life today where we need to realize that when it comes to wearing these masks, we don't have to, and we have to do this as well, Chazz.
Well, a lot of people do wear the mask, brother, because I think they feel like if they don't wear the mask, people will not love or accept them for who they really are. That's most of the reason why we wear the mask.
You jumping into our subject for next week because we're going to talk about the hypocrisy of Valentine's Day, and I want to talk about that till the cows come home because we're so lonely inside. We've got to have someone to try to fill that void as opposed to our own selves. And the hypocrites, all of us, the hypocrites who talk about a God or a spiritual deity, we talk about how this deity supposedly takes care of us and gives us this peace. But this deity does not give us peace because we live as if we know no deity. We live as if we are heathenistic. But we must engage, Chazz, in wanting to grow intellectually. We should want to grow intellectually. Now, I want to show you something, Chazz. And this is what's going to make a brass monkey cry. Because while we're playing games, we're dying. Our people are dying. And here's something that we all need to take a serious look at. Because most of us don't want to accept the fact that we have some serious mental and psychological issues. Now, watch this. You may not be able to see this, but I want to read this to you.
Okay.
I want to read it to you. It talks about health and health care for Black people in the United States. It says 41 million people, or 13% of the United States population, are Black, with higher shares in the South. Addressing disparities in their health and health care is key for supporting and improving health and well-being of Black families. It says Black people have higher rates of illness and death compared to white people. Although it's way more them, we're dying at a much quicker rate. And there are reasons for that. And this talks about the percentage of adults reporting fair or poor health in 2020. 13% of white people reported they needed help. And 18% of Black people reported they need help. And then over here is what I wanted to get to. The infant mortality rate per 1,000 live births. In other words, look at what's happening to our babies and the mothers who's not taking care of their health. 4.6% white women are losing their children, their babies. But check this out, Chazz. 10.8% of us are dying. And damn it, nobody's saying anything. And all we want to do is sit around and scroll on social media. We watch these comedians argue with one another and take sides on the side of these rap artists. We don't want to sit down and have these serious discussions, and our babies are dying because we're not providing for them what they need. We're putting them in the hands of other people, and nobody's saying anything about it. You don't want to watch something that's going to help you. You're so ignorant and I'm so dumb that I can't sit down and say, this is some good stuff. I must take my time and learn that in order for us to take care of ourselves, we've got to look at many facets of life, Chazz, and we got to stop this silly stuff that we are allowing to go on in our lives.
Like you mentioned about a few seconds ago about the African-American sisters are putting their babies in the hands of others. Brother, what would your take be on abortion? Now, this is a tough topic, but a lot of sisters, I would think, probably are in that statistic because of abortion. Wouldn't you say?
Well, you should have thought about it when you laid down and opened your legs. And the man too. It's not just the sisters. It's a it's a two-way street, you see. And that's a whole nother topic that we can talk about at a later date, because once we open that Pandora's box, we cannot come back. So what I'm trying to say to people is we must set boundaries between work and personal life. Some people work so many hours, man, that they're working themselves to death. They're sick, trying to get overtime, trying to do everything they can. And this is killing them, and they don't realize it. So they're not taking care of their health. And this is why we must talk to those people in love and say, you've got to take care of yourself, man.
This is a joke, but you took a pot shot at me, because this was one that I could apply to myself. I do work a lot of hours. I am working a lot. And you do, like you said on this, we have to balance between having a personal life, which is doing things on our own, going out, taking a few days off, and then also with work. There's nothing wrong with work, but when we're doing it, like you said, when we're running ourselves in the ground and our health is at risk, then it's just you're killing yourself. But yes, that needs to be talked about. I'll let you go ahead and talk about this graph you have on the screen.
Everyone look at this graphic. Pay close attention to it, because Chazz and I are not just fly-by-nighters. We're trying to teach tonight on Adults Only, which can be seen every Wednesday at 6 o'clock Central Standard Time. This should be a normal part of your life. You cannot go through life without listening and talking to people that are serious. So what we're saying is tonight's subject is nurturing your mind and your body. Don't turn us off. Don't turn us off. Listen to us, because we're dying. We're reaching out, throwing out the lifeline. 13.4% of the United States population identifies as Black or African American. Of those, over 16% reported having a mental illness in the past year. And it goes to say what I've often said. We are sick, many of us, but we don't want to acknowledge it. Here's another thing. That means, Chazz, that's over 7 million people. When you add those people up, that's more people than the population of Chicago, Houston, and Philadelphia combined. And yet we don't want to talk about this, and our babies are dying, our youth are dying, we are dying, and you're sitting around listening to some Grammys, you're sitting around watching some sports 24/7. I'm sitting around listening to somebody sing, I'm sitting around listening to somebody talk about another comedian. This is the most ridiculous thing that I have seen, but we're dying, and nobody's sitting down and say, hey, hold on, brothers, you guys are telling the truth. I got to stop this stuff. See, this is why we're not getting a whole lot of comments where people are saying, I'm included in this. Yes. They know they're sick. I know I'm sick, Chazz. Yes. I know I'm sick, but I won't do anything about it. I know my babies are sick. I know my children are sick. I know my youth are sick. I know my mama, my daddy. I know my uncles are sick. I know my brothers and sisters are sick. I know these people are sick, but we don't want to talk about it because we think that they're okay. But as Sister Sharon said earlier today, we are wearing the mask, and that's why we're not taking care of ourselves, Chazz. And that's a problem.
Let me ask you something real quick about the mental health about most of us Blacks. Let me ask you this. Do you think, because this is a topic that we all talk about, reparations, do you think if most Blacks had the proper amount of cash that the average white man or white woman has, do you think our mental health will still be affected like it just was on that chart you showed?
No, I don't think so. I think it'll still be affected, but not as much because, see, when you don't have the economical needs that you need to pay for your rent, to pay for your children's education, to pay for your things that you need when you get a flat tire instead of having to wait and save up money to get a tire or living from paycheck to paycheck, a lot of those worries will be gone. So we have a different set of circumstances than other people. So let's not get that twisted. So a lot of in answer to your question, I don't think it would be as bad because that's a lot of our problems. You wouldn't have a lot of robbing. You wouldn't have a lot of stealing. You wouldn't have a lot of robbing of banks and all of these things because we would have that. So there would be no need for that, Chazz. But what I'm saying is we must practice what we preach. Most of us believe in a deity. Some of us go to church. Some of us go to the mosque. Some of us go to spiritual meetings. What I'm saying is if we practice what we preach, and I notice it says on here, all of us, this would help us with our mentality. This will help us with our health, because if there is a such thing as a deity, if there's a such thing as a God, if there's a such thing as an all-knowing being, then why in the hell are we acting the way we're acting when we say that this being that we have a relationship with is supposed to be helping us when we're not, Chazz? And I gotta slow down because I'm getting worked up, man. I'm getting worked up.
The reason why, brother, is because in one mouth we say, and this is a scripture, they say, Lord, Lord, but their hearts are far away from them. So that's what I think a lot of it is. We're saying we believe in this God. We say we believe in this deity, but deep down in our heart, I don't think many of us believe. And that's not only with God, that's a Buddha, Allah, whatever religion you believe in. A lot of people really don't believe. So it's easier for us to sit back and say, all you got to do is believe in God. Well, brother, you know as well as I know. A lot of people, they just don't believe in anything. They just winging it every day.
And Chazz, this is what I'm talking about tonight. You and I are talking about how we as a society, we have lost many of those things that our ancestors have given us as far as how to endure. They had to go through so much. And so many of us say that they paved the way for us, but we're still acting as if nothing has been done for us. So our children are struggling. We are struggling, and it's all of us. So it's not just you and I saying the people are struggling. Like most of these people that go to these settings and these educators and these preachers, these imams, they talk down to the people. We're saying that all of us are included in this, man. And so we must practice the things that we preach. We must engage in mental therapy. And I'm telling some of you tonight, you've got to get help. There's nothing wrong with that. I've got to get help. Investigate your own thoughts, Chazz. Access your own behavior. Ask yourself, why do I act like a beast? Why do I act like an animal? Work on enhancing your own emotions. Should you get upset just because someone did something or said something to you? Work on feeding your mind and body with what it needs so that you can be effective in this life, Chazz, because there's too much going on now.
Yes, and like you just mentioned, the reason why some of us act the way we do act, and I hate to keep blaming social media, but I really do believe, brother, a lot of those behaviors and the ratchetness and all that, I believe we are adopting that, and social media is the main culprit for a lot. Even though we're grown adults, men and women, we still, I say, are we're looking at too much of that, and so now we're trying to relive it out.
Yeah, and the thing of it is, Chazz, is we as a society, we as a people, we should be able to do some things in our lives. And I think when we be able to express our emotions in a healthy way, that's positive. See, everything ain't always you son of a bee. Everything ain't always I'm gonna whoop you. You know what? Everything ain't always somebody's after you. Everything ain't always a boogeyman's under the bed. Everything ain't always I gotta have my way. Everything ain't always I gotta get mine. You see, we are a society that has gone out of control. We've gotten out of control. We've gone stone crazy. But see, people don't want to hear what we're saying because we sound like we're condescending, which we're not. They don't know a good speech, or in other words, they wouldn't know a good message if they heard one. This is a beautiful message. This is a soulful message. This is a wonderful message. Why? Because we're talking about how to nurture your mind and your body. But a Negro, most of the times, would rather go sit in a building and hear somebody foam and squeak and squawk and not say anything and think that they're doing something when all they're doing is taking your money and they're taking your mind. We rather go in a religious setting and think that we're holier than thou. Oh, you know, I'm so holy. But yet in our hearts, Chazz, we haven't worked out all those things that's hurting us and holding us and keeping us back.
Big brother, just can you go? I was gonna say, could you go back to number 7? Express emotions in a healthy way, and I have to say this too. When we, especially in disagreements, brother, if I disagree with you, I'm sorry. Instead of me just saying, you know what, brother, I don't appreciate what you did. Why do we have to blast it on social media? Why do we have to embarrass you in broad daylight, embarrass you in the grocery store, embarrass you in the neighborhood? Like I told you, what happened to having a disagreement in a minor way, calling you on the phone, texting you on the phone, and say, you know what, brother, I didn't see eye to eye. And know everything is not fighting. But here's the problem, brother. And I hate to keep going back to, but I have to say it. A lot of us have watched so many reality TV shows, so many movies, and these women and men, the way they act on that TV screen has a big role to play in how we conduct ourselves when we don't agree with someone. And I hate saying that, but it has to be said.
You drove that car down the right street on that one, Chazz. You drove that car right down the right street on that one. Because the bottom line is, many of us go to these religious settings, and I'm not against that. So don't think that I'm against that. What I am against, though, is going to a religious setting and acting like you don't know what you're supposed to be doing. We know right from wrong, Chazz. We know that we shouldn't be acting the way we act. But so we're so messed up psychologically. We're so schizophrenic that throughout the week we act a certain way. Then on a certain day, we want to get on our knees and bow down to Allah and bow down to Jesus and bow down to the Supreme Asar. And we're not doing that. I'm telling you, man, this is why our emotions are very unhealthy. And all we're saying is that's how you take care of yourself. And Chazz, I know you want this one.
Involve oneself in activities that bring joy and relaxation to one's life. Yes, even if that's for myself, exercise,
eating healthy.
Yeah, eating healthy, drinking water. I mean, to me, and I know that may seem boring to a lot of people, but exercise, these are things that's going to help your body. Get away from the phones as much as possible, even if that's going outside, going to the park for 10 or 15 minutes with your grandson or granddaughter. Enjoy the nature, enjoy the trees. Just get away from technology as much as possible. And last but not least, if you do have children, get them involved in something. It's good to see our little ones smile, having a good time after school. That is something that will bring joy to all of our hearts, and we need to start doing those a little bit more. I'll pass it back to you.
Well, I want to jump on this next one because we should also meditate. That means practice mental exercises that help us achieve control over our mind. I have a school that I run, and we have students that go to a facilities where it's a fitness center. And you will be surprised every Thursday when we go work out, when the young lady who's the instructor, when she gets them together and they meditate, you should see what that does to those children. Wow. It really gives them a sense of peace. And this is why you and I didn't have that, because everything was hell with us. Everything was up in the air. And so it's still like that now. But when those children leave their facilities, these are kids 8, 9, 10 years old, and they're so serene after they leave because meditation works if we allow it to. And people say this often: I'm gonna stop letting people get on my nerves. You can't disturb this joy I got. This joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. You a lie. The world gave it to you. The world can take it away from you. Only thing that has to happen is you have to be in an uncomfortable situation. And instead of knowing how to deal with that joy, that peace, and all that stuff we lie about, it's being taken from us. Chazz, our children are dying, man.
I want to say real quick for those who have not went to your page, right? Because I've went to the page and I saw those exercise videos of your students, and I could tell just from the video, them jumping through the hula hoops, they're having a ball, they're having a good time, and you could tell they're enjoying themselves. And brother, it is so refreshing to see them do that compared to seeing a 7, 8, and 9, 10-year-old on a tablet all day and not doing any exercise. So for those who don't know about his school, please go to his page and look at the videos, and you'll see those kids are having a ball at those exercise classes.
Chazz, I think we live in a world right now where this point here where we say, in order to nurture our mind and body, we should quit soaking our minds in nothing but entertainment. You hit on that earlier. You know, we're not just saturating it, we're soaking. We go to sleep, wake up, it's in our hand. We go to the bathroom, it's in our hand. We whatever we're trying to drive, it's on the dashboard. We are some people, Chazz, that have lost our way, and we want you to get the way back. Right. We all should. We have to make sure that we quit soaking our minds in Cat Williams, and all these things. Now, again, I'm not knocking, but this is all we think about. We talk more about stuff that is silly, that makes us crazy, than we do about how do you relax your mind? What are you doing to bring joy to your life? What are you doing to make sure your children are eating properly? What are you doing to make sure that you and your kids and yourself are getting out in nature and enjoying nature? What kind of book are you reading as a family together to make sure that you're parenting the way your parenting skills should be? See, this is what I'm talking about, Chazz.
See, brother, but here's the thing. When us as individuals, when we don't have any hobbies, when we don't look forward to anything, what is the outcome? It is, and I'm not saying that, and here's for some ignorant people who may say, well, they're saying we can't watch entertainment. It's okay to watch it, but don't soak in it. And the reason, like you just mentioned, brother, a lot of us are soaking in it because we have nothing to look forward to. We don't care about our lives. And last but not least, this is entertainment is something we latch on to give us some kind of meaning and hope for life.
I want to share a comment now, and I want everybody to just be quiet. Everybody be quiet. And look at this comment and watch this comment. It's going to blow your socks off of you. Look how transparent this queen is. Look what she says. She says, I got help, and there's nothing wrong with getting help. Well, that's the most beautiful thing I have seen in a long time, you see. She's nurturing her mind and body because she knew she needed help. And she said she got help. And there's nothing wrong with getting help. And that's the problem. Most of us know we need help, but we don't want to get help because we think we're okay. We have deluded ourselves into thinking that we are okay. Visions of grandeur. So this is really, look at this, Chad. She comes up with this. She says she was falling apart, man. She knew. This is what I love about this queen. She says she's transparent. She knew she was falling apart. And see, the rest of these people watching this, not all of them. Many of them are screwed up from the floor up. They are screwed up. I am too. I am too. So let's get that straight. I'm screwed up too. But a lot of us don't. We think we're more than we are, Chaz. We think our stuff doesn't stink. And when we're falling apart, we've got to get it together. Our children need to see us get it together. My mother and my father had so many issues, and I would see them falling apart often, but they constantly taught us how to keep it together. And I thank this sister for sharing that with us. Because most of us are hiding behind these cell phones when we know, brother, that we are sick and we will not get the help. And that's why we will never get ourselves together the way we're supposed to.
And I just want to say real quick to Sister Sharon, that is awesome to put being brave to say, you know what, I've had issues. I don't think I'm perfect. I don't think I'm better than. She's willing to put herself on a broadcast to say, this is something that I've been dealing with, and it's okay to get personal help.
I love her for that.
And we're not here to shame her. We're giving her credit for being brave enough to talk about it. Number 11, it says build and maintain positive relationships.
Guys, please let me get to this one. I'll let you have it.
Go ahead.
I can't wait. Some of us are in relationships, and I don't necessarily mean romantic relationships. Just some of our friends. They're negative, man. Everywhere we go, we've done broadcasts on negativity, but we won't let it go. Some of our family members are so negative. Some of us are negative. All we do is sit on a cell phone and talk about people. So we don't have, we don't know how to turn the tide. We don't know how to tell these people, I'm going to take a change in life. I want to start being positive. And in fact, instead of us sitting on this phone talking about each other, let's go for a walk. You pick me up, I'll pick you up, or let's meet at a park. Let's go for a walk. They won't talk like that, Chaz. What they're going to do is talk about you, talk about me, and talk about everybody in the sun. And this is one of the reasons that our minds are not being nurtured and our bodies are not being nurtured, because we're messy, man.
Let me ask you this, and you took everything that I was going to say. If we want to get away from these people that are constantly negative, always drama, where do we go to find these people? Let me ask you that.
Well, first of all, we have them already in our sights. We talk to them every day. We must be strong enough to tell people. Like, I have some students, and I tell them when it comes to other students who basically try to make them do what they don't want to do. And because a lot of them are young, they let the peer pressure get them. But if you're negative, and this is a great example, I will say to you, Chaz, if you and I have had a negative relationship, I'm going to tell you when you call me tomorrow and start that mess again. I'm going to say, Chaz, I know in the past you and I have been talking about a lot of negativity, but I'm really trying to do better. So let's change the subject. In fact, let's go for a walk and let's enjoy the sun. And if you say, well, no, I ain't down with that, then I'm gonna say fine. And you probably won't call me because you know I'm not the one for it. But see, birds of the same
Brother,
feather.
you on a roll today.
This is true, Chaz. And this is why we always talking that black talk, that Afrocentric talk. But most of us are hypocrites. And
Yes.
I'm included because we don't know how to build and we don't know how to maintain positive relationships. The
Yes.
negative relationships we maintain, but the positive ones we don't want. And so
Yes.
I feel sorry for our children. I feel sorry for us as a people because we don't want to have these serious discussions because most people hide behind their cell phones and they don't do this when it comes to their own bodies, man.
Yes, get regular checkups. And that's another important thing. Brother Raymond, he normally was commenting over the last couple of weeks saying that he felt weak. He felt different because he wasn't getting sunlight. If you go to the doctor, I'm willing to bet you, not all, but some of us, and this is not to degrade or put you down, some of the reasons why we are down, we're not getting enough D3. We're not getting enough sunlight. You guys, and you can Google this, you would be surprised to see the deficiencies in the average human who don't have the proper amounts of D3 in their system. Now, once you get that, you'll feel a little bit better. Your memory will be sharp.
Yeah, there you go.
Your memory will be sharp, and you'll be on the ball. But yes, getting regular checkups because there could be something in your body that's wrong with you that's causing you to react like that. So yes, get regular checkups and don't be scared. A lot of us blacks, brother, and especially us, we don't want to go to the doctor, and I'm included in this. We don't want to go to the doctor because we're afraid that doctor is going to type on that computer and they're going to say, Josiah, Craig, Chris, you got some of everything wrong with you. And the game is almost over. So that's why we don't want to get checkups, brother. And you know I'm telling the truth.
Chaz, you need to cut that out, but it's true. And it's like, what? We like a car. The engine light may come on or the brake light may come on, and we're supposed to go into the mechanic and say, hey, fix this.
Right.
The engine light, the brake light of our lives have been on for a long time. We can't walk a block without huffing and puffing. We can't run 2 blocks. You know, we can't, and that's an engine sign that's telling us that something is wrong because we should be able to do it. And we're young, but instead of getting ourselves together, we're foolish. We're steady piling in the junk instead of getting what we need. And this is why when we become 30 years old, we have to be on insulin. You know, we're so stressed out. Our stomachs, the lining in our stomach is tore up from worrying. Our hair is falling out. So all we're saying is live every moment. And this is key. Live every moment with love in your heart. Now check this out. Don't live every moment with love in your heart for other people. So, you know, this is what we're going to talk about next week. We have to love ourselves first, Chaz. And that's the problem. Everybody's talking about that now. I'm working on myself. I love myself. No, you don't. No, I don't.
Right.
Because if we did, we wouldn't be. Listen, Chaz, when we go to the doctor and we get a checkup, the things that are wrong with us shouldn't be. But we're so hypocritical. We tell everybody when I see you, you say, hey, Jah, how you doing? I'm doing fine, big brother. What's happening? No, I'm not. I got all kinds of problems going on with me. You know, the lights have lit up all over the dashboard. And instead of us, you know, I got to get myself together. People don't want to hear the truth. And most of us, again, we run to these buildings like that sister said, and we use the church, we use the mosque, we use these spiritual buildings, and they supposed to ease what we're really dealing with. And so we use that as a cop-out. But we need something more that's going to help us with the mental because we're not living every moment with love for our own selves, man. You've got to do that, and so do I.
Yes. You said a handful. Once again, live every moment with love because I'm going to take it a step further. We do not know. Listen, we don't know when we're going to leave this earth. It can happen in our sleep. It can happen when we're washing dishes. Eventually, we're going to leave this earth. But you don't want to go out bickering with somebody, arguing with somebody. You know, you fussing with somebody in the kitchen, you drop down dead. Is that how you want to be remembered? I mean, that's just ridiculous. So with that being said, we need to start loving ourselves more. And there's some things that we can't change, of course, but be appreciative for what you do have. I just looked up at the time and then we're running out. That's why I'm kind of cramming this in. Sister Sharon just says, when I got help, I understood. Adults get peer pressure too. She's absolutely right. Josiah, Mashonda said, Josiah, take your butt to the dock. I talked about myself earlier. Don't be scared, LOL. But yes, these are all good comments. We appreciate you guys for tuning in. Big brother, I normally have the last comments. I'll let you do the last comments today.
Today, we have had a heartfelt discussion about nurturing your mind and body. And we're saying to you that we love you so much that we took time out of our schedules to have this discussion with you. You all are beautiful people. You all are wonderful people. We all have been through so much. And we're just pouring out our hearts because we're including ourselves. See, most of you watch these podcasts where they talk down to you or they want your money and make you feel less than a person. Well, we're saying this is an issue that all of us have to deal with, and we must do something about it. And in love, we say to you, we want you to take care of your children. Your children should be able to live to be a ripe old age. Quit putting that stuff in their food. Quit feeding them all of that stuff. Take care of your mind. Brothers and sisters, please take care of each other. Take care of yourself. Walk, go to the park, run, do things you can do. If you can't go to the park, walk around the house, get out of the house, get on the porch, read a book, smell the air, drink some lemonade, smoke a little dope if you old and you need to be relaxing. See, this is what we're trying to say, and stop letting these people mess your mind up in the entertainment world. Stop listening to all these people. Stop taking their advice. Quit trying to be like them. Love who you are enough to say, I don't care what Big Brother Jahi said. I don't care what Chazz said. I'm going to do what's best for me so that I can be around until I'm supposed to leave, as opposed to dying from a diabetes or dying because I smoked too much, dying because I drank too much, dying because I didn't know how to take care of myself. So we're just coming at you in love. And we're saying to all of you, next week, please come back, because next week you're going to have a broadcast out of this world. In fact, I'm going to tell you what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about love, lies, and commercial ties. Unveiling Valentine's Day hypocrisy. We want to tear that thing up like never before. There's nothing wrong with loving one another, but we're going to show you how we don't know how to love, because we've been taught how to love by other people. And that doesn't mean that we love somebody because we can buy them something once a year. Love is deeper than that. Or you can get a card. You can't even, and I can't even write words on a card or on a piece of paper to express myself. I got to go to a store and stand in a line for hours to read the words, to find the best words, when I know that that's not how I am. We got to stop that. And so that's all we're saying, is that we love you. And we're saying we have to realize once again that this is something that we need to discuss. Then we'll talk about Black history. Sister Sharon says she appreciates us. We appreciate her too.
Thank you,
Sister Mashonda says Shem Hotep Brothers means she wants us to go in peace, but she wants us to have a real serious kind of peace. And so, having said that, we love you all. This is a hot broadcast. You should tell people about this broadcast. You can't afford not to. But a lot of us don't want this stuff, Chazz. And that's why a lot of us don't comment, because we know in our hearts that we're hitting home. The only difference is some people are transparent and they know that the shoe is fitting them, and they're acknowledging that, as opposed to many of us who hide behind our cell phones or go to these buildings and think that we're better than people on a Sunday. And then throughout the week, we raise all kind of hell. This is a sad day that we're dealing with, but we want to encourage you all. So Chazz, I'll give you some final little thoughts, and then we'll get out of here.
Yes, this was a powerful broadcast, just talking about nurturing our mind and taking care of our bodies. This world that we live in, it is messed up. It is tore up. We don't really have much to do, to work with, I should say. And we're constantly being poisoned from all sides, the media, our food, anything you could think of, we're getting hit with poison. So I would just say, for those who are dealing with low self-esteem, who don't know how to be positive, start telling people, today is the day. Don't call me about gossiping about our relatives. Don't call me gossiping about people in the neighborhood. If you do, I'm going to politely get off the phone. And if you don't speak to me again, so be it. And like you mentioned earlier, brother, call people if we can drive. Go to a park. Walk for 15 to 20 minutes or however long you can. Get your vitamin D3. Get some more water in your system. Get things going and stop sitting around this house, because what's going on is you're sitting around this house, stacking all this food, getting hit with radiation. You're getting hit from poison food. Brother, I mean, it's ridiculous what's going on. It really is.
Good.
And once again, to those who may think that we're talking down, we're doing this out of love. We love you guys. If we didn't, we wouldn't be on these broadcasts every week. We really want you to do better, and myself included. In fact, somebody called me out today. So, and it's all good. I appreciate it. But once again, this is a broadcast about nurturing the mind and body and start being positive. Next week, we'll see you back again. Hopefully, you guys take care and have a fantastic day.
Yeah, on behalf of Chazz, I am your big brother Jahi, and we appreciate all you for tuning in to us because you didn't have to. Right. And if you didn't get a chance to see the whole broadcast, why don't you go back and rewatch it? Because you're gonna love everything that you hear. So don't pop in and pop out. Don't play games, pop in and pop out. Just watch the whole broadcast. It's only an hour. And again, the song that I'm going to play this week, last time I said it, I hit the wrong button and it went off. Nobody's perfect. But I'm going to play a song that Chazz and I have. We are part of a group called the Cries from the Womb. And this is a song called Honey Baby. It's a song about the importance of being with a Black woman who has your back. It's important about being together with the Black woman and the Black man going on throughout life. We are almost ready to do a video with this song. We don't have the copyrights yet. It's our music. But once we get done with the lyrics, we got a videographer. We have two young ladies that's going to play our counterparts. We got one going to be my lady, one going to be Chazz's lady. And we're just waiting for them to sign everything. And you'll see our video. It's coming out soon. It's on a single that's coming out, but it's called Honey Baby. But this is the music to it. And on behalf of Chazz, once again, we thank you for tuning in to Adults Only, and we shall see you all next week. But this is the music that I'm going to play, so just hear it out, and we'll see you all next week. We love you. Shemim Hotel, Uncle Ujasane.